Hi guys, before we get into today's episode, I just wanted to make a little disclaimer. I really don't like my accent or the way my voice sounds in this episode. I honestly don't know why I'm talking like this, but I recorded this episode right after the concert, so I was probably exhausted and still on cloud nine. I also feel like the audio quality isn't as good as in my other episodes, but anyways, I really hope that you will still be enjoying this episode. And now, without further ado, let's get into it. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to this new podcast episode. I am so excited to record this podcast because today we're talking about one of my favorite topics ever, which is BTS. If you know me, you probably saw this episode coming from a mile away. I've been a fan since middle school, and honestly, they might be the only group I've ever been this loyal to. I've had phases with other artists, but BTS, they've been here through every era of my life at this point, and now here's the thing. I listen to music all the time, but I'm actually not a big concert person. I know it might sound surprising because you'd think someone who constantly has headphones on would probably be front row at every concert, but it's not my case. Most of the artists I listen to are international, and whenever they come to France, they perform in Paris, which sounds great until I remember that I don't live in Paris. So suddenly it's not just the concert ticket, it's the train ticket, the hotel, the food. And before you know it, you're basically planning a 3-day vacation just to hear someone sing for 2 hours. And my bank account starts sweating the second a tour gets announced. So because of that, I only go to concerts if I really, really love the artist. And when I say really, I mean there are literally only 2 artists on that list, which are BTS and Ariana Grande. Technically, I could say 3 artists because I also saw Blackpink at the Stade de France in 2023, so only been to 2 concerts in my entire life. But there were concerts I had been dreaming about for years, and I'm very picky, so if I'm leaving my house, taking a train, booking a hotel, and spending half of my savings, you better believe it's serious. Like, I've been an ARMY since middle school, and I genuinely never stopped being one. And back then, I was a full-on K-pop stan. I was what people call a multi-stan, meaning I listened to a bunch of different groups, but over the years I kind of grew out of K-pop except for BTS, and they're the only group I still actively follow. And yes, I am a diehard ARMY, no shame, no embarrassment. I will defend these 7 men like they're paying my rent. So obviously seeing them live was always on my bucket list. The problem is that when they came to Paris in 2019 for the Love Yourself, Speak Yourself tour, I was still in high school, I couldn't travel by myself, and there was no way my parents were going to let me go all the way to Paris for a concert by myself, so I missed that chance. Or at least that's what I thought, because now I'm 22 and I finally had the opportunity to see BTS, guys. Today I'm going to tell you about my first BTS concert experience, how it went, my absolutely traumatizing ticket war, and my first impressions of the members, and basically why this weekend will probably stay in my top 5 life experiences forever. So grab your favorite drink, your popcorn, or whatever you're snacking on, and let's get into it. Okay, first of all, I can't talk about the concert without talking about the ticket war because honestly, I hope I never have to experience something like that ever again. If you've never had to buy tickets for a BTS concert, consider yourself lucky because it is generally one of the most stressful experiences ever. I'm convinced it should be classified as an Olympic sport because what the heck was that? I remember ticket sales opening at the end of January or something like that, and guys, I was ready. Like, I had done my research, I knew exactly what section I wanted, I had already decided on my maximum budget, which was around 300 euros, so I was aiming for a category 1 or a category gold ticket. I can't remember exactly which one, but I wasn't even dreaming about VIP or soundcheck. I wasn't trying to be greedy. Like, I just wanted a decent seat where I could actually see the members instead of watching the entire concert through the giant screens. So that was literally all I wanted. And apparently, even that was too much to ask. Like thousands of other ARMYs, I completely lost the ticket war. And when I say those tickets, disappeared instantly. I'm not even exaggerating. Like, I've seen articles saying the European date sold out in around 30 minutes. 30 minutes? I'm sorry, but I refuse to believe that because I genuinely think everything was gone in less than 10 minutes. I'm not even kidding. Like, maybe even 5. Guys, I was connected to the Stade de France website before ticket sales even started. I wasn't late. I wasn't casually logging in while making breakfast or whatever. No, I was sitting in front of my computer like if I was about to fight for my life. I didn't refresh the page. I had multiple tabs open and even multiple electronic devices open. I had my bank card ready. I was fully prepared for a battle. And every single time I clicked on a ticket, the website would tell me someone else had already bought it again and again and again. And I would finally see a ticket available. I click on it, I add it to the cart, and then, sorry, this ticket is no longer available. I swear I saw that sentence more times than my own reflection that day, and it felt like the website was personally making fun of me at this point. Like, at one point, I genuinely started wondering if the tickets actually existed or if Stade de France was just conducting a social experiment. That was so frustrating. So I moved on to every other official websites like Fnac or Ticketmaster or Carrefour. Anything that was selling official tickets. Same story. Either everything was sold out or the websites were crashing, freezing, loading forever, or directly kicking me out of the queue. Like, it was absolute chaos. And I know people joke that buying BTS tickets is like trying to get a Taylor Swift tickets, but no, it's like trying to get Taylor Swift tickets while participating in the Hunger Games. Like, by the end of it, I was mentally exhausted and I had accepted defeat. So I closed my laptop and thought, well, I guess that's life. At first, I wasn't even that upset. Like, I was disappointed, obviously, but I kept trying to stay optimistic and I kept telling myself, it's okay, they're probably going to announce a third date in France, but I don't know, like, something in my gut kept telling me that wasn't going to happen. And spoiler alert, I was right. France never got a third date, and the next day was honestly worse than the ticket day because that's when it really hit me. Like, I suddenly realized, oh my god, I'm actually not going to see BTS. And I became so frustrated, guys, because it's BTS. Like, I know if you're not an ARMY, you're probably thinking, girl, calm down. It's just a concert. But no, you don't understand. Like, it's BTS. It's BTS ARMY. Just kidding. But seriously, I've been a fan of this group since middle school. I've grown up listening to their music. They've been with me through exams, stressful moments, happy moments, literally every phase of my life. So the idea of missing what could potentially be one of the only tours I'd ever been able to attend. I mean, I don't know if it was the only tour that I'd ever be able to attend, but we never know what the future is made of. So yeah, that hurt. And then something happened that made me realize I wasn't going to give up. The next morning, it was probably around 4 in the morning, I suddenly woke up completely panicked because I had just dreamed that I was actually at the BTS concert. I know, judge me if you want, call me obsessed, call me delusional. I honestly don't care anymore. I have fully accepted that I am obsessed with this group. I've reached a level of self-awareness where I don't even try to deny it. But waking up from that dream made me realize something. I couldn't miss this concert. Really, like, I just couldn't miss this concert. So like every complete rational person would do, I opened my laptop again. I went back to the Stade de France website because apparently I believe in miracles. I refreshed the page, hoping that overnight thousands of tickets had magically appeared out of nowhere, and obviously nothing appeared. Then I noticed something. There were still lodge tickets available. So now, if you already know what lodge tickets are, you probably know exactly where the story is going. And if you don't, let me explain. So lodge tickets are basically the luxury experience. You get access to private lounge, fancy food prepared by a chief, personalized service, a comfortable indoor space, little gifts, the whole VIP treatment. It sounds amazing until you look at the price and then you realize it's almost 800 euros per ticket. And the funniest part is you could only buy 2 tickets minimum and you're not even that close to the stage. Like, you have an amazing view, but you're not close enough to interact with the members. So I just sat there staring at my computer, and then I looked at my savings account and then back at the tickets and then my savings and then the tickets again. And I think that I repeated that process about 20 times. I was literally arguing with myself, Like one side of my brain was saying, Mary, this is financially irresponsible, and the other side was screaming, but it's BTS. So guess which side won? I bought two large tickets, one for me, one for my mom, and then I booked the train, then the hotel, and when everything was added together, the total amount was 2,000 euros, guys. 2,000 euros. I know. Trust me, I know. Even saying it out loud still sounds insane. Like it's literally the price of a plane ticket and a hotel booking, but it's probably one of the craziest financial decisions I've ever made in my life. But honestly, I don't regret it because here's the thing. I've always been responsible with money. Like I've always worked hard. I've always studied hard. I've always saved my money instead of spending it impulsively. And I rarely buy luxury things. I don't go shopping every weekend. I don't spend thousands of euros on random stuff. So I told myself, you know what? For once, let yourself be a little crazy. I'm an adult and it's my money. I worked hard for it. I had savings. BTS is not going to tour every single year forever, especially not in Europe because apparently Hype doesn't really like Europe. Life is short. Some experiences only happen once. And if there was a moment worth spending money on, this was it. So looking back now, I'd made the exact same decision all over again because the second the concert started, I forgot how much I'd spent. Every euro became worth it, and now let me tell you why. So let's finally talk about the concert itself. First of all, let's talk about the organization. Since I had already spent an unreasonable amount of money on the tickets, I told myself, you know what, let's make this the easiest and most comfortable experience possible. So I booked the closest hotel I could find to the Stade de France, and when I say close, I mean literally across the street. Like I just had to cross one road and I was in the stadium. Honestly, I couldn't have picked a better location, and one of my favorite memories is actually before the concert even started. From my hotel room, I could hear the sound check and the rehearsals, and every now and then you'd hear music coming from the stadium, and every single time I'd stop whatever I was doing and run to the window just to feel the atmosphere. And of course, I couldn't actually see anything, but just hearing little bits of the rehearsal made everything feel so real. Like the excitement kept building all day, and I was lucky enough to attend day one, which was on Friday. And guys, the atmosphere outside the stadium was honestly one of my favorite parts of the entire experience. There were people everywhere. Like I had never seen so many BTS fans in one place. The only concert I've been to before was Blackpink at the Stade de France. So I expected something similar, during the Blackpink concert. Like before the concert, it was pretty calm and easy to navigate, not too crowded. But for the BTS concert, it was completely different. Like it was packed, really, really packed. I couldn't even figure out where my entrance was. I couldn't find a waiting line. There were people everywhere. And keep in mind, I arrived super early. Plus, I had lodge tickets. So technically, I didn't even need to queue that early. But even the lodge entrance had a ridiculously long line. And that's when I realized, okay, that isn't just a concert. This is a BTS concert. It's a completely different level. But honestly, I didn't even mind waiting because while we were standing outside, I met so many people. I've received so many freebies. And if you're not familiar with K-pop concerts, freebies are little gifts that fans make and hand out for free. Yeah, everything is in the name. But yeah, people were giving freebies and I've received so many freebies. People spend weeks designing photo cards, keychains, bracelets, little stickers, just to give them to complete strangers. Like, how cute is that, And you can only find that with K-pop. I mean, I think that you can only find that with K-pop fans. And I came home with an entire collection of little souvenirs, and I was so happy to have the carte vitale and the Navigo pass freebie because they were the only one I wanted the most. And I had like the Jungkook carte vitale, and I think I had the Taehyung Navigo pass. And the people, they were so adorable. Like I talked to many armies from all over France, but also from other countries. And some people had traveled for hours, some had taken planes, some had come alone. Others came with their families, and every single person I talked to was incredibly kind. Like seriously, ARMY has to be one of the nicest fandoms I've experienced. And people always joke about ARMY online because we're loud, which, okay, fair enough. But in real life, everyone was so welcoming and it genuinely felt like one big community, which might sound a little cheesy, but music really does bring people together. Or maybe BTS just has that effect. Looking around was honestly beautiful. There were kids, teenagers, people in their 20s, parents, grandparents, and literally every generation you can imagine. People from all kinds of culture, backgrounds, and nationalities. Everyone had a different style. Some people were dressed casually, others had recreated BTS music videos outfits, which was so great to see. Some had purple hair, some had homemade banners, some had official merchandise from 10 years ago. It was just amazing to see how one group of 7 Korean men managed to bring together tens of thousands of completely different people in one place. To me, that's what success looks like. But yeah, around 6 p.m. or maybe even a little before, they started letting us into the lodge because it was getting really crowded outside. And guys, walking into the Stade de France lodge for the first time, oh my god. I felt rich. For approximately 3 hours, I was part of the bourgeoisie. Like, it was beautiful. Everything looked so elegant. The decoration was classy. The staff was incredibly professional. Every lodge had its own private host, and ours was honestly so nice. He was always available if we needed anything. But what made me laugh was the fact that he was also enjoying the concert. Like, you could tell he was trying to stay professional while secretly vibing to BTS. And honestly, same. Like, the thing I loved the most about the lodge experience was that you got the best of both worlds. Inside, you had your own private room with comfortable chairs, a TV, a bar, drinks, and a buffet with genuinely delicious foods. And I wasn't expecting stadium food to be that good. But the best part is that you weren't stuck inside. Whenever you wanted, you could simply walk outside to your seats and watch the concert with everyone else. So obviously, I spent almost the entire concert outside. There was no way I was going to stay inside watching BTS on the television when they were literally performing a few hundred meters away. I only went back inside during a couple of breaks to grab a drink. Looking back now, I honestly wish I had filmed more. I'm terrible at vlogging. Every single time I experience something amazing, I tell myself, I'm going to record everything. And then I get there, I completely forget my phone exists. And I just enjoy the moment, which is probably a good thing. But now, when I think about that day, I kind of wish I had more videos to look back on, especially videos of the lodge experience, like the food, the place, etc. Although, maybe that's proof that I was actually living the experience instead of watching it through my screen. Okay, now let's finally talk about the concert. First of all, something I wasn't expecting at all is that the concert actually started earlier than it was supposed to. I remember looking at the time thinking, wait, are they already coming out? And another thing I was a little worried was the fact that it was still daylight. I don't know why, but in my head, I always imagined a BTS concert starting in complete darkness with all the army bombs lighting up the stadium. So at first I was thinking, I hope it doesn't ruin the atmosphere. Well, I had absolutely nothing to worry about because as the concert went on, the sun slowly started setting, and honestly, it made the whole experience even prettier. Like, seeing the stadium gradually go from daylight to sunset, especially at the end with the song Into the Sun, was actually really beautiful to see. It almost felt like the concert had 3 different atmospheres. Now let's talk about my phone, because I was surprisingly responsible. I barely filmed anything, and I'm actually really proud of myself for that, because nowadays people spend entire concerts recording every single second of the concert. And I know that the members expressed themselves a lot concerning that. Like, they said several times that they wanted to see army faces and not their phones. People record everything, then they go home with 200 videos they'll probably never watch again. And I think it's not always a bad thing because it can create lots of souvenirs. But I didn't want that. I wanted to actually remember the concert with my own eyes instead of through a 6-inch screen. So I only filmed the moment that I knew I'd want to watch again. So I filmed Dynamite, Butter. I filmed the moment where the entire Stade de France sung Arerang, which honestly gave me goosebumps. And of course, I filmed all the member speeches because I wanted to remember what they said, word for words. And apart from that, my phone stayed in my bag. I was dancing, singing, jumping, screaming, basically doing everything except filming. And honestly, I don't even regret that for a second, because I genuinely feel like I was experiencing the concert instead of documenting it. And what surprised me the most wasn't even BTS, it was the atmosphere. I really felt like we were all sharing one special moment together, not just the fan, but the fans and BTS. And it didn't feel like artists performing on stage while thousands of people watched. It felt like everyone was participating in the same experience. The crowd was loud, like really, really loud. Every lyric, every fan chant, every time a member said something, everyone was singing, everyone was dancing, everyone was laughing. You could literally feel the energy in the stadium. And I honestly hope that the members enjoyed Paris as much as we enjoyed having them there, because the crowd gave absolutely everything and there wasn't a single moment where it felt dead. Personally, I enjoyed the whole concert, obviously, but if I had to choose, my favorite part was definitely the second part of the concert and the ending. That's when everyone, including BTS, looked like they were really having the most fun. You could tell they were more relaxed, like they were running around, playing with each other's, interacting with the audience, smiling all the time. And that's also when I danced the most. At some point, I completely forgot I was there. Like, I wasn't thinking about my expensive tickets anymore. I wasn't thinking about work or life or anything. I was just dancing with more than 1,000 other people. Another thing that completely shocked me, Emmanuel Macron and Brigitte Macron were there. Like, I had absolutely no ideas that they were going to come, and they were also in the lodge. I think it was the lodge in front of mine or on my left, like I don't really remember, but yeah, I saw the president and the first lady that day. I only realized it when they appeared on the big screen, and I was like, wait, is that the president? And out of all the people I expected to see at a BTS concert, that was definitely not on my bingo card to see the president. But yeah, anyways, now can we please talk about the set list, because oh my god, I love the set list for this concert. It's absolutely perfect to me. I loved it. They performed so many songs from the new album, and since I genuinely love every music in that album, I was really happy. But then they played Boy With Love and Jump as surprise songs, and guys, when I tell you I lost my mind, I genuinely wasn't expecting it. I was so happy to hear Boy With Love. I love that music so much. Like, it's one of those songs that just makes you want to scream every single lyric, and that's exactly what I did. Something else I really appreciated was my section. Everyone around me was actually enjoying the show. People were dancing, jumping, singing, cheering, and surprisingly, almost nobody was filming the entire time. It was like, it made such a difference. Nobody was blocking the view with their phones. Nobody was standing there completely still trying to get the perfect TikTok video, and everyone was simply living the moment. And I honestly think that's one of the reasons I enjoyed the concert so much. There was one moment that made me laugh and also confused me a little. You know how during concerts they sometimes show people in the audience on the giant screens? Well, at one point they were showing different fans with their country's flags or just with flags in general. And then one girl appeared holding what I think was a Spanish flag with a sign asking BTS to come back to Spain. And suddenly the whole stadium started booing. Like, even foreign fans around me starting booing. And I was like, what just happened? I was genuinely so confused because I didn't know what was happening. And later I went on X, and apparently the girl ended up crying because of the reactions of the stadium. And I'm not going to lie, I don't really understand the whole French army versus Spanish army beef. Like, I don't really know how did the beef started, but yeah, it became a hot topic on X that night. Okay, so now here's the weirdest part of the entire experience. You might think it's weird, but even though BTS were literally right there, I don't think my brain ever processed it. Like, I know it sounds strange, but it's not that I was dissociating. It's more like my brain refused to believe what my eyes were seeing. Even during Idol, when they walked closer to my section, I still didn't have that moment where I thought, oh my god, BTS are standing right there. Even today, I still don't feel like I've actually seen BTS, which makes absolutely no sense because I obviously did. I have videos, I have pictures, I have proof, but mentally I'm still in denial. I think that I need Namjoon to be like 1 meter away from me before my brain finally accepts reality. But instead of making me feel satisfied, Seeing them in Paris actually had the opposite effect for me. Like, it just makes me want to see them again. One concert is not enough for me. Now I understand why people travel around the world following tours. I finally get it, because once you've experienced a BTS concert, you immediately start wondering, okay, when's the next one? And the funniest part is I genuinely thought I was going to cry. I've been waiting for this since middle school. I'm 22 now, and this wasn't just another concert for me. It was something I dreamed about for years, and I was fully expecting tears, like emotional tears. Nothing. Not a single tear, because once again, I don't think my brain realized that BTS were actually in front of me. Like, maybe one day it will suddenly hit me. Maybe I'll be washing the dishes in 6 months and randomly burst into tears because I finally process what happened, or maybe I'll never fully believe it. Who knows? But one thing's for sure, it was one of the best nights of my life. Okay, so now let's talk about my impression on each member. So before I start talking about each member, I just wanted to say something. I am an OT7 fan, always have been, always will be. So this isn't me ranking them or saying someone performed better than the others, because honestly, every single one of them was incredible. These are just the little things that surprised me after finally seeing them in real life. So let's start with my biggest surprise of the night, which is the fact that Jimin completely bias wrecked me. Actually, no. Forget bias wrecked. I think he officially became my bias. I've always had soft spot for Hobie and Jungkook. Those two have always been my OG favorites. So before the concert, I was convinced that my attention would be on one of them, but absolutely not. The second Jimin walked on stage, I was done. I don't know what that man puts in his morning coffee, but his stage presence is insane. The way he interacted with the audience, his smile, his confidence, his dancing, his voice, everything. And can we please talk about the hair? Like, long hair Jimin, oh my god, yes, that's officially my favorite Jimin era. Like, he looked so amazing. And also, one thing I wasn't expecting, that man is buff. Like, especially when they came closer during Idol, his arms looked so toned, and I genuinely wasn't expecting him to be that muscular. So yeah, congratulations, Park Jimin, you stole my bias title. Now let's talk about Namjoon. I completely understand why everyone says he has leader energy, because he really does. There was just something about the way he carried himself. The second he walked into the stage, you could immediately tell, okay, that's the leader. He has this really calm but powerful aura, almost intimidating. Not intimidating in a scary way, more like the kind of person you naturally listen to when they start talking. He looked so confident the entire show. Everything he did felt intentional. Also, he looked so good. This hairstyle looked so good on him. His face, his outfits, the way he expresses himself, everything was so cool about him, and he had so much aura on stage. Like, seriously, I understand why people respect Namjoon so much. He is really a great leader, and this is something you can feel when you see him on stage. Now let's talk about Jin. Honestly, Jin made me love the entire concert, and I don't even remember why. I think it's just his personality. He's the oldest member, but his energy is giving youngest sibling. He was constantly smiling, messing around, interacting with the audience. You could tell he was genuinely enjoying himself, and seeing that made me smile too. Also, that man looked like he walked straight out of a K-drama. His visuals are actually ridiculous. Pictures don't do him justice, because he's even more handsome in real life, and he looks very tall. Sometimes I even felt like he was taller than Namjoon, but yeah, I really liked seeing Jin on stage, and I loved his energy. Yoongi honestly didn't surprise me, because he was exactly how I imagined he'd be, and I mean that in the best possible way. His stage presence when he raps is absolutely insane. The contrast always surprises me, because he has such a soft and youthful face, but then the music starts and suddenly he becomes this completely different person. Like, his charisma is unbelievable. Honestly, the Yoongi you see in the concert videos is the exact same Yoongi you get in real life. No surprises, no disappointments, just perfection from beginning to the end. Now let's talk about my original bias, which is Hobie. I will always have a soft spot for this man, always. And after seeing BTS live, one thing became very clear to me. J-Hope has has the biggest stage presence in the group. Like, I'm sorry, but that man was born to perform. The second he steps onto the stage, you cannot look anywhere else. He knows exactly how to interact with the crowd. He knows exactly how to hype people up. He knows exactly where to look. Every movement feels intentional. Everything he does screams, I belong on the stage. And honestly, if Namjoon wasn't the leader, I genuinely think that J-Hope could be a very great leader too. Like, he has that natural ability to make everyone follow his energy, and don't even get me started on his outfits or his face or his charisma. Now you understand why he was my bias for so many years, because I feel like he's just perfect. Like, he's perfect. Now let's talk about Taehyung. Oh my god, I love this man. What surprised me the most was how much fun he looked like he was having. Like, he was constantly smiling, dancing around, looking at the crowd, interacting with the fans. You could tell he genuinely loved being here, and honestly, watching him enjoy himself made the concert even more enjoyable. One thing that really touched me was his speech. He did the entire thing in French, just like the other members, but he really, really wanted to do it in French. And I know that he kept apologizing because he wasn't confident, but Taehyung, if by any chance you ever hear this podcast, your French is amazing. Like, seriously, I understood everything, and yeah, his French was very, very good. Also, can we please acknowledge the visuals, because wow, he's obviously incredibly handsome, but I noticed something. Blonde hair really softens his face. Like, he looked so cute. Meanwhile, black-haired Taehyung gives off way more of that mysterious, intimidating vibe. And one final observation is that, wow, the body proportions are insane, especially when he wore that white tank top. I think it was a white tank top. And I also remember that during D2, he was wearing a gray top. And seriously, he has insane body proportions. Him and Jungkook have insane waist. And seriously, I'm like, save some proportions for the rest of us at this point. Okay, now finally, let's talk about Jungkook. Guys, this man is ridiculously handsome. Like, actually, it's unfair. But let's stop talking about his face for a second. Can we appreciate the talent? Because that man can sing. Like, his vocal control is absolutely insane, and even while dancing nonstop, running around the stage, interacting with fans, his voice barely changed. I could genuinely listen to him sing for hours. He's also an incredible dancer and an incredible performer. Honestly, he's one of those people who seems good at absolutely everything. Like, something else that surprised me is that he actually looked younger in real life than on camera. His eyes are huge, like, seriously. And I think he looked younger than me, which is honestly kind of offensive. And finally, we have to talk about his French, because excuse me? How? Like, you cannot convince me that this man doesn't secretly have a French best friend or a French tutor, because I don't know, the pronunciation, the accent, everything was genuinely impressive. Every time he spoke French, I was just standing there thinking, sir, when did you have time to learn all that? Honestly, Jungkook is one of those people who somehow exceeds your expectations every single time, and you already know he's talented. Then you see him live and somehow you're still impressed. Now let's talk about the part that wasn't quite as glamorous, the exhaustion. Guys, I don't think I've walked that much in many years. First of all, public transportation in Paris was an absolute nightmare. Some metro lines were closed because of construction, so everyone was being redirected to the same stations. It was so crowded and it was so hot outside, so imagine the smell. Yeah, it was chaos. At some points, people were barely moving. You were basically just letting the crowd carry you. I don't even think I was walking anymore. I was just floating with the mass of people. Every time I got back to the hotel after being outside all day, my feet had officially resigned. They were no longer working because I didn't even have shoes adapted for walking. I was wearing Adidas Gazelle with the very thin sole, and honestly, the amount of walking we did that weekend was insane. Between the hotel, the stadium, the metro, walking around Paris, I accidentally completed my monthly step goal in 3 days. Another thing, I barely ate. Not because the food in Paris wasn't good, I just wasn't hungry. I was so excited the entire day that my stomach basically forgot how to function. And you know, when you're looking forward to something so much that food suddenly becomes the least important thing in the world, well, that was me. I was surviving purely on excitement and adrenaline. So yeah, after that weekend, I'm officially entering my skinny era, guys. Not because of a new workout routine, not because of a healthy diet, just because BTS accidentally became my nutrition plan. Would I recommend it? Probably not. Would I do it again? Absolutely. Now let's talk about Paris for a second. I'm probably going to have an unpopular opinion, but this trip wasn't really about Paris, and I think that's why I found the city kind of boring this time. Before you come for me, let me explain. I've been to Paris quite a few times already, and I actually live very close to Paris. Like, I live 2 hours by train to Paris. So I wasn't really interested in visiting the Eiffel Tower again or walking around the Champs-Élysées because I already visited that 1,000 times already. I wasn't there to play tourist. This trip had one mission, BTS. That's it. So instead of spending my time sightseeing, I stayed around the Stade de France most of the time, and honestly, I didn't regret it at all because that's where all the magic was happening. The atmosphere around the stadium was absolutely incredible, and even hours before the concert started, there was music playing everywhere. People were trading freebies, taking pictures together, helping each other, complimenting each other's outfits. And you'd randomly hear BTS songs playing from someone's speaker, and suddenly a group of strangers would start singing together. It honestly felt like a little BTS village. For those few days, it was like the area around the stadium had become its own little world, and everyone was there for the same reason. Everyone was excited. Everyone understood exactly how you were feeling. And I think that's what I'll remember the most from this trip. Of course, the concert itself was unforgettable, but the atmosphere outside the stadium, the fans, the conversations, the excitement that everyone shared, that was such a special part of the experience too. And looking back, I don't really feel like I spent a weekend in Paris. I feel like I spent a weekend in Stade de France. And honestly, I wouldn't have wanted it any other way. So looking back on this whole experience, I think the biggest thing I learned is that I am rich. And no, I'm not talking about money because trust me, after spending almost 2,000 euros on this trip, my bank account definitely wouldn't agree with that statement. I'm talking about being rich in experiences, rich in memories, rich in opportunities. Sometimes we spend so much time worrying about what we don't have that we completely forget everything we already have. And I'm only 22 years old and I've already had the opportunity to see my favorite group perform live. I've been listening to BTS since middle school, and back then, if you had told 13-year-old me that one day I'd be standing in the Stade de France singing along with more than 80,000 other armies while listening to BTS and see them perform right in front of me, I probably wouldn't have believed you. But it happened, and that's something nobody can ever take away from me. I'm also incredibly grateful that I was able to pay for this trip with my money that I earned. I worked for that money, I saved it, and I decided to spend it on something that genuinely made me happy. I know some people might think spending that much money on a concert is crazy, and honestly, maybe it is, but I don't regret it for a single second because money comes and go, experiences stays with you. Years from now, I probably won't remember what my bank balance looked like in 2026, but I'll remember singing Jump with 80,000 people. I remember hearing the entire stadium sing Arirang, and I remember meeting amazing armies from all over the world. I'll remember Jimin bias wrecking me. I'll remember Jungkook speaking French better than half of us. And I'll remember laughing, dancing, and forgetting about everything else for 2 hours. Those are the things that stay. This trip also reminded me how important it is to actually enjoy your life. Sometimes we're so focused on saving money, being responsible, working, studying, planning for the future that we forget to actually live in the present. I'm not saying you should spend 2,000 euros every weekend. Please don't, because your financial advisor will probably have a heart attack. But if you have the opportunity to create a memory you'll remember for the rest of your life and you can genuinely afford it, sometimes it's okay to say yes. Because life is made of moments like this, and this was definitely one of mine. So BTS, if by some miracle one of you is listening to this podcast, which is probably not the case, first of all, hi. Second of all, thank you very much. Thank you for making music that has been part of my life for so many years, and thank you for giving me one of the best nights of my life. I genuinely hope that I'll get the chance to see you again one day, and hopefully a little closer this time, because apparently my brain still hasn't accepted the fact that I already saw you once. But yeah, this is the end of this episode, guys. I actually loved recording that episode, and I really hope that you enjoyed it too. I also do hope that the sound was not too bad. But yeah, that's it for this episode, guys. Next week, we're switching things up completely because we're going from BTS to Love Island. Yes, the transition is absolutely ridiculous, but we're going to do it anyways. So if you want to hear me overanalyze reality TV the same way I just overanalyzed a BTS concert, make sure you come back for the next episode, and thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to follow the podcast, leave a rating on Spotify, and share it with someone who loves BTS or someone who's simply curious about what a BTS concert is actually like. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye, everyone!